Hey guys, welcome back to Christo's Cafe. I've got another deck guide for you. The deck is loaded. My goofy mug with caffeine is all set to go. I just wanted to actually preface this video quickly with a little bit of feedback I got from Superstar Banana Mix. And his feedback was that during the game segment of my deck guides, it's kind of lame that you kind of watch me interact with chat who's not there, not on the screen, and I don't necessarily talk maybe about the deck as much as I could. So I'm trying something different. Please tell me if you like it. I'm recording these games specifically for this video, so hopefully I'll get to interact a little bit more, explain my thought process a bit more, and it's going to be more interesting for you guys. So please do let me know, drop a comment, hit me up on Twitter, Twitch, wherever you'd like. Let me know what you think. But until then, let's get into the deck guide. Welcome back. So we are going to be talking about, as I like to call it, Boom Boom Kelly. So we've got Kelly running Madoc. I ran Kelly without Madoc and I thought it was good. I think the list with Madoc is actually a little bit more flexible. So that's kind of why I went this direction. We went like 25 and 2 or 3 with it or something silly on ladder. There's a lot of good matchups for Kelly out there right now. There is some tall removal, but there isn't enough to get through your defender, to get rid of your Siri, to get rid of your Kelly. And the more I've been playing this deck, the more I've realized that Siri is the main, like, stupid good point of this deck. If you get the extra card, you can push on even, you can bleed them on even, and you can pretty much just finish them up with Lasso pretty safely, no matter what situation you get yourself into. So we're going to dive into this, talk a bit more about the deck specifically. But if you want to watch me play this kind of list live, twitch.tv/TheOneChristo, I'm always looking for new and fun, interesting decks to play. I don't even know where I got this one. Somebody in chat sent it to me and I had a blast with it. So if you've got something you want me to play, pop up in chat, let me know. You can share it with me there or on Twitter or Discord. All the links are in the description, so you can come find me there. Let's dive into it. Let's chat a bit about it. Now, the reason I think that this deck is actually performing pretty well right now is on ladder, I ran into a ton of NR Witchers, which don't run really any tall punish. We're starting to see like Igni show up in them and Anseas show up in them, but it's still not quite enough. You have the opportunity to play against like Nature's Gift Devotion, which means you drop Siri with Crystal Skull on it and you just win pretty much year round up a card, which is pretty nasty. You run into a lot of SK Warriors and this just demolishes Ursine Warriors. So a lot of really, really good matchups for Kelly right now. So let's run through the list quickly. We run Crystal Skull because, again, the main goal there is to go Siri, Crystal Skull, Oneromancy to pull our Kelly, our Siri, or whatever else we're missing. You got your Heat Wave for tall removal. We've got our Egern for some big point slams. So obviously you want to get Egern out early to drop Osril and consume him at the end of the game. Keep in mind, you've also got Kelly to consume. Still not bad to get you your 10 points there. We run Siri, we run Madoc, we run the Defender to protect them all. We run Imler's Wrath as a second tall removal. I think it's really important because the meta is still somewhat greedy. You're going to run into your tall Witchers, you're going to run into your tall Hamadryads and things like that. We've got Beast for points. We've got the Phantom for, I just tried to pronounce Apparin, anyway, the Phantom, as a good proactive play to drop down. We run one A-Rush. The bombs do take up a little bit of space, and the Purify is really, really important. You are going to run into things like Turgvi. You're going to run into some poisons and things like that. So the Taskmaster makes a huge difference here. Moondust is the 5 provision bomb we are running because it purifies. So again, deals with defenders and things like that. It's hard because I do want to run the banishing bomb. I would love to be able to throw a Northern Wind in, but I just can't find the provisions for it. So if you have any suggestions, please let me know. But running like a mirror matchup against Madoc, the Northern Wind is pretty solid. We run 2 D-bombs, we run 2 Haze, we run a natural selection. There's a line of play here where I consider switching the natural selection for another bomb. We've run into some scenarios where we don't actually get this. The fun part about natural selection is in some matchups, like when you've got to worry about a pred dive, this can be really, really nice. 2 packs for boost. We've got a Noon Wraith, just nice dry pass card, and we needed a 13th unit. Your Squirrel is here and your Wildhead Hounds wrap up your 25 card list because they're a solid 4 provision card. Gets you, you usually have dominance between Eager and Kelly and everything. So all in all, this is the deck that wraps it up. We're going to jump into a couple games now. Hopefully you enjoy them. Hopefully we win them. Otherwise it would look really, really bad. But this deck has been absolutely crushing it on ladder for me. It's my highest MMR right now. So we're going to keep rolling and hopefully we knock it out of the park. Let's take a go. All right. So again, something that you want to be considering here is the fact that there's a lot of decks that simply cannot answer your tall units because they don't run things like Heat Wave. They don't run... they might run Spores or something. That's not really going to solve their problem. So here is a perfect example of that. Witchers are going to be very difficult for them to handle because they can't swarm as much when Kelly just kind of crushes a lot of their dudes. The Purify Bomb here is nice to answer in Adept. We're going to kick Madoc. A lot of boost that we probably don't need. So we can maybe look at moving like an A-Rush, or I would even consider moving a Pact instead. The Phantom's nice. Right here, I mean, Anseus is probably the only way they answer Ciri. I wonder if we can kick a D-Bomb. I'm kind of okay with this, to be entirely honest. We drew most of our goals, and we should be able to punish them pretty good. But, you know, if you're talking tall punish, Igni, so you want to stay below 20 points on a row. Anseus, if we drop a Ciri at 8 points, Anseus is going to need to come out and do some work on the opening turn. So let's go get Ciri. Let's have her chill here. We're going to drop the Crystal Skull so she can't be locked. I know a few of them have kind of tried to squeeze Marguerite in. But Ciri is really the be-all, end-all to this deck. Her getting you the extra card will allow us here to push him on even and do some solid work. So you got the extra boost from Leader if you need it. But at 9 points here, she's going to be pretty much impossible to answer. So the Witcher comes down, and we just answer that with a D-Bomb.
The wonders of projectiles and ranged weaponry.
I mean, there's a theoretical potential here that he's just waiting to answer Ciri. So we can even go Adrenaline Rush on it. They don't typically run Spores. Occasionally they've run Bloody Baron, but points-wise, we don't even really care that much. The key is to get the card, and once we have the card, we're in good shape. Because we have the 2 other bombs in hand, we can just click Madoc to A-Rush. It's not a big deal. So we'll see what direction he goes here, and that will be how we kind of respond to it. But this is a pretty favorable matchup typically because Kelly ends up eating some pretty solid units on his side, and you know their whole goal is to swarm. So we're going to want to make sure we don't allow that to happen. So there we see the lock, which will answer Madoc and actually be a little bit annoying because it kind of bricks our A-Rush a little.
If I live to see it.
But it is what it is. So this puts us in a bit of a weird situation because, I mean, he could very easily be wanting, well, I don't know if he wants to pass on this short round. We can Pact Ciri. Again, the chances of him actually going ahead and doing something that causes problems is somewhat limited here. I don't know that I want to commit like Beast or Phantom because those could be helpful in the later rounds. You also want to make sure you never play Pact on Madoc. Dooming him is kind of a problem, but I think we can get extra tall without too much of a concern here. I mean, we can even, if, you know, depending on the point situation, can just drop a D-Bomb. So the fact that he's going with this is a bit on the annoying side because we don't have a good answer as we don't have the right bomb for him. Plays the boost anyway to stay out of bomb range, which I think is fine on his side. We could potentially just go Beast here. Since he seems to be wanting to try and contest the round, I think it makes it a little bit more awkward for us. So we can maybe commit Beast here. In the grand scheme of things, we're going to be wanting to avoid... There's our Hound, which will be a nice play as well, because we're going to keep dominance here. So that's a nice bronze we'll be able to spend. Now we are pressuring on even. We're up by 13 points on even, which is huge. He drops another Witcher, which we're going to answer with the D-Bomb anyway. Actually,
Can't see it getting any better.
So I'm a little torn here. D-Bomb obviously answers this very clean. The Red Haze will also answer it fairly nicely, and you don't always get Red Haze value. With the Swarm type of deck, though, you probably will. So I think I'm just going to take the easy route and spend the D-Bomb there. So both his Witchers are gone. His Griffin Witchers are gone, which means no real pings. Not that we're worried about it. Yeah, so this is fine. So he'll flip that, but, you know, he's still behind by 7 points right now. We're going to need to at least play one more card. We want to get him down to 4 and have to spend less if he really wants to win. I don't know that we care too much about last say here. I don't know that we care too much about last say because what are we going to do? We're going to Heat Wave probably a big Leo or a big Scytheman as our last play. But the whole deal will be to have Kelly kind of prevent that from happening. So, not the end of the world. I'm going to Talus into like oiling the Hound. He goes and pulls the AA out, which Haze could be pretty decent on here. Positions them nicely though to avoid Red Haze, which is smart on his part.
Be yourselves, only better.
I could have probably, well, no. I was going to say I could have considered putting the Wildhunt Hound up here. I maybe sequenced a little bit wrong or positioned a bit wrong. The Beast should have been on the front row and the Hound could have stayed on the back and we could have dropped an A-Rush on it. I felt pretty good about it. There's also a line of play where here we get 3 more points, we get 6 more points. So just passing is not terrible. But that only really gets us 1 card. We still get last say. So, I'm not opposed to passing here. We don't get to bully him as much in round 2, but again, we're going to have a Cave Troll and a Kelly he can't answer. So we shouldn't be too upset about it. The fact that we didn't get Eager now, it's a little sad. So let's take this line of play and let's see how it plays out. Because again, we get 6 points, right? So we're going to get 3 more, which is going to be 8 for him to have to overcome. He's going to need to drop 9 points, which is not obvious. On his side. So as I'm thinking forward, Imlerith's Wrath is what we're going to want to drop on probably Keldar and Heatwave something tall. We can do it the other way around as well. Normally we'll be taller than whatever he is. Leo's gonna come down for 4-8.
One more time. Now, try throwing.
And he burns a leader charge to be able to take it. So he's down to 1 leader charge, which is kind of nice. We haven't spent any yet, so that's going to allow us to really push the pace. Get our Narrow back, get a Red Haze, and get a Purify. I'm trying to think if the Purify really matters. I don't think that it does here, so we're going to boot that. That actually would have been a nice dry pass card, come to think of it, so we maybe regret that. We maybe regret that here. Because if we go Narrow for the Noon Wraith, or for the Squirrel or something. Is he going to play here? Feels a bit odd to me to go ahead and play cards, but we're going to do it anyway. Interesting. Interesting. Here we're going to play that. He also didn't get any of his carryover, right? So we have not seen Erland and we have not seen... We've not seen Erland. We have not seen Vesemir come down either. I kind of want to drop Eagern. It's going to get us ahead. It's going to get us ahead with 7. Again, if he has Anseus and drops it, then I think that, you know, he's definitely going to do a little bit of damage to us. But we want this in the graveyard anyway. We want the big points on the board. I'm going to see Keldar come down, and that is actually annoying since we didn't quite plan accordingly.
The less you blunder like
I'm much better at that.
I'm not opposed to playing Kelly here because it's just going to keep answering his stuff, and he automatically gets extra dudes out. Again, the Anseus worries me a little bit, but we're going to have enough points to solve most of those problems. Yeah, I think I'm just going to drop Kelly. Best case, that's 5. He hits that. I'm actually going to put 1 leader charge on there. And there will be in a position to potentially Moondust something as well. If Madoc ends up on the back row, we'll be happy. So there's Earl coming down. Earl will get the shield, I imagine.
we'll uphold the knightly values that define us. That is our quest.
Hard.
I almost want to Moondust this. Or actually, you know what we're going to do? If we hit this for 2, it'll put it to 3. If he wants to give it 1 Uprising boost, he can. We're going to do this way. Do we? Do we? It feels a bit weird to do it that way. But we're staying up 3 cards, so we're not terribly worried about this. There we go. Madoc drops to the right row. We're going to put him in a position where a Moondust will answer him, and then the 3 damage will go on to Erland. He's maybe planning on dropping Erland, considering the points will be there. We're going to Quen into... What are we going to see come out here? Vez? He drops Vez and then leaders Keldar. It's not a bad play.
Come forward. Enough.
Why don't train
We
on
will
the
not leader
cone?
Keldar, so we're just gonna wait. We're gonna do this properly. We're gonna click. We're gonna answer that. He ends up on the wrong row simply because my A rush is still kind of dead. It's a bit on the annoying side of things, but it is what it is. We can go and drop a pact next. The defender is something I'd rather keep in case he does run the Anseus. So he actually clicked Erland to get out. Pulls the trio out. You also don't want to pact your Egern. That's also bad news bears. I'll give him dudes. There's a potential he probably wants the uprising here.
Retrieve the bolt. I know. I'm on it.
I might actually want to go Phantom. Like, we're going to need to grab Osriel to win this, more or less. We're going to have the extra points. Yeah, okay. So there's a good chance he's considering a pass here after this. I mean, it's a lot of points on the board. Don't get me wrong. It is a lot of points on the board. Because we get 6 here, we get 6 there. I actually am going to do this. We're going to continue to have that boost. I wonder if he plays that last card as well. You would play another Scytheman.
Should have listened to me, old lady.
So every time we pass, we play, we remove a card from him. I'd like to keep card advantage. It would be nice. We'll give Kelly the pact. He's going to lose 3. And then he's going to lose 4. Let's see if we play one more. So 4, 7. That's 46. Yeah, we're going to have to kind of go all the way here. Let's go 3, 6, 9 would be 3, 6, and 9 would put us at 48. 48 and 7. So that's not quite going to be enough. So we'll drop that as well. We'll go ahead and hit his tallest unit so that the 4 actually goes. 41. Right, and then we pass here. The 4 goes, and we are good because he has no other engines on the board. Actually, I did that wrong because we actually got 2 more clicks, including the pass, so I didn't need to spend that. You live and learn. You live and learn. In this scenario, I still think we're fine because Osriel comes down. He can't really have an answer for him. Anseus in theory. Osriel needs to come down, though, so this is kind of awkward. We want to keep the bomb. Heatwave is good. We want to keep the bomb to get... Yeah. So the thing is, in this scenario, he had nothing left, right? If we look at the list of what you'll typically see, he might have had a couple bronze witchers to deal with, but that's really it. So we actually made a few mistakes that game, which Kelly is not an easy deck to play. So we did make a few mistakes there, but all in all, I think that it went fairly well. He bled really, really hard in round 2. We kept card advantage, and he spent everything to get there. Then we just come out on top. So that's something you're going to see a lot of the time. We won a lot of 2-0s. We won a lot of concessions after 1 round or after 2 rounds. So there's a good opportunity to just kind of push them. And like I said, I think Ciri really is the main draw here. So ironically, I kept queuing in to NR Witchers, which is good for my MMR, bad for this video though. I wanted to show you guys something else, not just slam NR Witchers over and over again. So we're trying this again. We're going to queue into another game, and hopefully this one will give you a different perspective on the deck. So I'm not just kind of repeating myself over and over again. Lockdown. So this is going to be interesting, actually.
You best yield now.
I'm curious as to what type of lockdown this is, if it's going to be the Colgrim shenanigans, if we're going to see like what exactly we're going to see. If it is Colgrim, again, this is going to depend heavily on the matchup. If it is Colgrim, I don't actually think they have much of an answer for anything we play. So it could be pretty interesting if this isn't Colgrim, if they're playing ball and that kind of stuff. It might be a little bit more difficult. Again, the meta is very polarizing right now, right? So you're going to run into a lot of scenarios where sometimes stuff is good, sometimes stuff is bad. If we're playing Colgrim, that Wild Hunt Hound is not something we really want in hand.
Save me some time.
We're going to find out the hard way what type of matchup this is. We've seen, to be honest, most of the lockdown I've seen has been Colgrim related. Could be double Madoc as well. I think they do run Heatwave, so that might get punished. But for the most part, when we are running into that kind of Colgrim Nova deal, Colgrim Nova. That's what I'm talking about. When we're dealing with Colgrim Nova, it usually is not too much of a problem. If this is ball, that's like a Vincent target, that's a Yenvo target, that's just bad news for us. I've seen them yeah, okay, so we're not gonna. This is interesting though, because this implies that this is Soldier Ball lockdown. Would be my guess. Which means we don't have to deal with Heatwave. We do have to deal with Yenvo. Good chance Madoc gets locked here. It means we can play the Wild Hunt Hound. Normally in a matchup against Colgrim, we won't want to be playing the Hound at all. That just gets clogged. It gets cloggered hard, so sticking with the bomb, sticking with the no unit strategy is probably the best way to go here. Again, the only question comes down to, can they Yenvo our Siri? And if they do, I mean, we have a Heatwave for it, but that does put us in a worse spot. So 2 Slave Hunters, which I don't think Assimilate is, I don't think Assimilate is a thing with lockdown, but I have been proven wrong before. Let's answer that as well. Madoc, of course, could have jumped to the back row, chose not to because he's a jerk. Honestly, in some scenarios, I probably wouldn't be as hell-bent on killing all the Slave Hunters. Because for the most part, I don't care. Just with Siri on board, I worry a little bit about those extra pings doing damage and then having to spend something like a Pact on her. So this was just the safer route. And it prevents them from getting Assimilate on boards, prevents them from boosting. I mean, this could also be maybe just a lockdown deck, a tweaked kind of Soldier Ball deal. I feel like that is what we will be seeing, but I could be wrong. The next play would probably be an A-Rush on the Hound. Because that way, even if he locks it, we don't really care. The poison would be slightly problematic. Copying the Hound is interesting. Prevents the A-Rush, though.
Her Grace will not be pleased.
Thankfully, it does activate our allow us to play Red Haze. So playing into that row is an odd life choice for Mr. Opponent. But that'll just solve that problem, so. Feels pretty decent overall. There's the pass on even on 6 cards, and now we go into heavy bleed mode. I'm trying to think if there's any reason why we wouldn't want to bleed here and push him, and why we'd want to let a long round go down, but I don't think there is. I think that Heatwave is the answer to Masquerade Ball. We have a Purify for a poison if we wanted. We're lacking the Defender and the Defender combo with Ellie. Speak of the devil. The rest of this kind of looks good. There's probably a line where we kick Red Haze as well, though. What do we want from our deck really here? Like, this stuff can be good for us to use in a shorter round as well. Osriel obviously on the Egern should be nice, so let's leave this alone. Let's just jam Egern, knowing that if we do see something threaten him, we just go and throw down our Cave Troll. If they're running some Assimilate procs, they might be running the Purify to get past the Troll. Still probably not a Heatwave in here. Yenvo, again, worst case scenario, but he can't really Yenvo and then play our Kelly unless he wants to throw a back row. And then we have answers for that stuff as well, so not feeling too bad. If he does play Masquerade Ball, we just eat it. We just eat it and we debomb the Dame. I mean, the Nausicaa Sergeant is another engine, so we just answer and we put Madoc on the board. Of course, Madoc never plays well with A-Rush. It makes me want to put another bomb in the deck so often, which is why we kicked it here, because we're probably going to be stacking the front row with Cave Troll and with Kelly. This is just another one of those scenarios where, man, the matchups feel so polarizing. Because you're in a scenario here where the lockout Madoc's kind of okay. We could purify that. Like, I don't even know if it's necessary. What are the chances we're actually gonna go out here and get another Madoc ping? So the question becomes, we haven't used Oneiromancy yet. Do we just go get an engine? Like Beast, throw it down, purify that if they lock it. Because this does read as another purifying hand, right? So this will only get us one. Or do we just go and look at dropping Kelly here? I don't know that the scenario calls for Kelly. I kind of like Beast. Actually, you know what? I do like Beast. I think I like Phantom more, and I will tell you why. Phantom can't be locked. So this extra cavalry in hand is kind of irrelevant in this scenario. We're going to want to push him down. Like, seeing ball is not good enough here. We're going to want to push all the way. If he has ball, I don't know what this deck is. It seems to be a little bit, you know, lacking in certain scenarios. We got the engine rolling. I can't think of too many other threats right now. I think we'll just kill that because it's going to keep us way ahead. Puts us up by 9. So he's going to go Roddy. We do go Roddy into ball. No, we go Roddy into Coup. Probably Roddy into Coup into ball. Or Roddy into Coup into anything, really. Wanting Coup for round 3. Makes me wonder if Joachim's also in hand. Makes me wonder if we care that much, since things like Wrath and Heatwave answer. So there is Joachim. Which is fine, because he's already spent the Coup this round, right? So he's not going to get another chance to Coup. Rathins will have nothing to copy. Makes me wonder if we've kept a Red Haze if he plays Emissary. The Emissary boost on Brigade makes me really sad that we kicked Red Haze. Or that we played Red Haze already. So up a card, thinking he's in good shape. We'll just Wrath that. Pretty solid play. We know Coup is gone, so Joachim's not getting him an extra boost. The Heatwave on that could be enough to finish things later. This Purify is kind of awkward now. Maybe it's not awkward, as he drops a Fangs. We do thankfully still have dominance, so we will purify this.
You shall find none.
I figured this was going to see, you know, value in this matchup regardless, because you're going to either get... We could drop the Defender as well. If he goes here and tries to poison again or something. If he does poison that, I'm just not going to risk it. I'm just going to put down the Cave Troll. If he wants to, like, Yenvo or Vincent that and then Fangs, it is what it is. The only other way I think he's getting poisoned, though, because that was his Purify. He wouldn't have spent that first. Yeah, he would not have spent this first if he had the Fangs in hand. So he's trying to push me out of the round. Really packed. Again, you don't want to play that on Madoc or Eager, and you can pretty much play it anywhere else, though. So we're just going to throw it on... We'll throw it on the lowest unit. We'll throw it on the Emissary. Kind of makes me wonder if I shouldn't put it behind the Cave Troll, but I think this is also fine. The biggest point slam he has Yeah. The biggest point time he would have had there is probably Usurper. We just take the W. I hope you guys enjoyed the deck guide. I hope you like the new style where I actually talk through my games. If you did enjoy it, please drop a comment. Come find me. Just let me know if you liked it better, and I'll kind of switch to this permanently. If you guys don't care, just don't let me know. It'll be fine. So this deck, honestly, I had a ton of fun with it. I think it does fairly well. Again, the meta is a bit polarizing. If you run into a very no unit punishing type of deck, you're going to have problems because they'll likely answer everything. But if you're running into lockdown, typically it's not too much of a concern. If you're running into stuff like NR Witcher's not a concern, SK Warrior's not a concern. So there's a lot of matchups that go very poorly for your opponent based on your current setup. And I think that's important right now in the meta because there are so many polarizing matchups. You want to look at the decks that are played most often. You just want to go ahead and counter those. And I think this deck does that. Again, the biggest change, you know, looking through all of this at 5 provisions, we might be looking at trying to fit a Northern Wind in the deck. It might just be the A-Rush that comes out. It might just be the A-Rush. We saw how the Taskmaster was helpful. It gets you through defenders and stuff like that as well. So that's actually quite nice. You do have such a heavy top end, including Madoc in this list, which is what makes it a little bit awkward. If you pull Madoc out, you're probably putting in Nithril. You can probably look at upgrading some of your 4Ps, but like Noonwraith just gets stuck in there because you don't have a choice in the matter. You need a unit. Natural Selection, again, not ideal. I would love to have a Northern Wind in there instead. The problem with the bombs on 4P are the fact that, I mean, you're dealing 3 damage, which is not super fun. So you kind of work with what you got and you're very limited in space. I find the deck more flexible because Madoc gives you another threat that they have to lock, Heatwave or whatever, versus the other version of the deck, which I found even more polarizing in the way of matchups. So let me know what you think. Let me know if you prefer this or the other style. Keep me posted. I love hearing from you guys. Drop by my Twitch. Give me a deck to play. If I enjoy it and you want me to, I'll make a deck guide out of it. But I will see you out there in the Gwentverse. Take care, and thanks for watching.
Oh, what a lovely tea party.